Hello there, I'm Karen Antara. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and this is my energy report for April 2025. I'm actually recording it in the last few days of March. And what I've noticed is that in this last week, I would say a few days to a week, everyone is talking about the end of the Kali Yuga, the end of the Age of Darkness. Now, I'm not sure that it actually is the end of the Kali Yuga because I'm not an expert in that field of study. And quite honestly, most of the other people talking about it are not either. They've just heard it and are regurgitating it as if it were gospel. And it may well be gospel, but the truth is, I just don't know. I can't validate it. I can't confirm that information. But what I can say with 100% certainty is that, in my personal experience, something has changed. Now, I woke up on Friday morning, the 21st of March, and my first thought that came into my mind was, oh, something's changed today. We are in a whole different world. To me, it felt as if we had just readjusted and we're now back onto an organic Ascension timeline, the original Ascension timeline. But I also recognize that that experience is not true for everybody. Not everybody, I believe, has shifted onto that organic Ascension timeline. And I know that that's not going to be a very favourable thing for me to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. I know that some people have shifted, definitely, and some people have not shifted back onto that organic Ascension timeline, and they most likely will not shift onto it either. Now, they could, but currently they are not aligned to it, and this is all about frequency. I find it interesting as well that just as we begin to shift into this new frequency and timeline, that they announce that they have found pillars and chambers underneath the pyramids in Giza. Now, there are several well-known voices in Egyptian mythology and Egyptian teachings, and a lot of them have come out and argued against this. They have said, no, this is not the case. There are no columns and pillars and chambers underneath the pyramids. But I would propose that we can only perceive things to the level at which we are able to attune to that frequency. And therefore, if those pillars and chambers exist at a frequency that is beyond the level to which those well-known people and voices can perceive, they'll simply miss their existence. I just want to explain that as well by saying mediums, psychic mediums, are able to shift their frequency to perceive the level at which our deceased loved ones are continuing in existence. This is what mediumship actually is. So we're here in a 3D, and a medium is able to shift their frequency attunement and be able to connect with our deceased loved ones at that frequency level, which is a higher frequency level than what we live in our 3D daily reality, right? So in the context, in respect of the Egyptian findings, let's say, if those people are not able to shift their frequency alignment, they will never be able to perceive the existence of these other structures, if they are there, indeed. And in all the years that I've seen these particular well-known people taking their groups and tours to Egypt, rarely, if ever, have they come back with any new information. There are no new findings. It's always the same stuff regurgitated around and around. It's almost as if they're only allowed to share a certain information, or maybe they're only given certain information to share to a certain level. And then everything else beyond that is capped, because there are secrets and mysteries that they don't want shared with the commoner like you and I. I feel this to be true actually within many areas and teachings of New Age and spiritual teachings. And to be honest, of course, this is exactly what I refer to when I talk about the New Age false ascension matrix. It's all about that. It's about making you think that you know so much, but capping you at a certain level. It is the proverbial glass ceiling. And the thing with the false ascension New Age teachings is that you think you're continuing to evolve without realizing that you're banging up against this glass ceiling, or that you've been capped. Now, I can promise you that anyone that is speaking and bringing through new information, or information that was previously hidden to us, they won't have large followings on social media. And most likely they're actually shadow banned so that people can hardly find them, because that's just how it is in this matrix. But even with all of that trying to hold us back from bringing through the truth, I do still feel very excited about this new timeline that we're in. Now, okay, somebody could argue, well, there is no time. Everything happens in the present moment, blah, blah. I know that stuff, but I'm just going to talk about time, and I'm going to talk about timelines because that's what I'm going to speak about today. I'm going to talk about it anyway, because what I want to say is that just because we can think or believe or hear that we are in a new timeline, that a new timeline has opened up for us as a potential, not necessarily is everyone suddenly going to be on that new timeline. I know that that's going to be a controversial or an unfavourable opinion, but surely you know me by now. I'm going to speak what I want to speak, whether people agree with it or not. And I'm going to stand by that when I say that not everybody is on this new timeline that has just opened up. Because it's all about frequency. It's about choice. It's about alignment. You know, we choose what we want to align to. There's always going to be that free choice and will, okay? So let's go back to 2016. Can you remember where you were, what you were doing, what was happening in your life in the early part of 2016? Well, I can remember very clearly what I was doing and where I was and what I was experiencing in my life at that time. And I'm going to put forward the suggestion to you that at that time we jumped, well, actually we were pushed onto an inorganic timeline in early 2016. And that if we are of the right frequency, right now we have been able to move back onto or shift back onto the organic timeline that we were always meant to be on. Well, what created that timeline jump in 2016? Well, I think CERN did. CERN, the Large Particle Hadron Collider in Switzerland. I think it shoved us onto a parallel or a quantum Earth timeline or experience. And of course, I can't prove that because I'm not an expert in CERN either. But I think the shift of consciousness now, as more and more people have awoken, I think it's caused the realignment of that manipulated timeline. And, you know, we've been able to kind of override it and move ourselves back onto the organic ascension timeline. That artificial or parallel Earth fabricated timeline, if you like, manipulated timeline, is still there for anyone who wants to align to it and what it has to offer. Because again, it's all about frequency alignment. Now, we need mass consciousness now to solidify this organic ascension timeline. It's not a done deal for everyone. And even those who seem to be awake can actually fall back onto that manipulated timeline because it's still there. That's what I'm trying to say to you. And I do think as well that if the dark agenda have success with their doom and gloom propaganda that they continue to bring out, people can still revert back to that false timeline, even if they made it onto the organic timeline right now. I hope this isn't confusing you. So what I'm seeing is the false timeline that was the parallel Earth timeline that was created in 2016 by CERN when they opened up particles and portals and all of this kind of thing. They opened up that timeline, and I believe that we were all shoved onto it. Now I believe that the frequency has been raised enough through the awakening of humanity and that consciousness shift. We've opened up again this organic ascension timeline, and many of us have jumped over onto it. What I'm saying here is, if you align to the doom and gloom propaganda that is still being fed out, you can lower your frequency sufficiently that you switch back over to the false timeline. Okay, got that? So it is a timeline parallel that they created specifically for their control and domination agenda. It includes this false timeline that they created through CERN, in my belief, includes artificial intelligence, transhumanism, and all of the DNA and physical manipulations that go along with that false timeline. So I know talking about CERN is a little bit random, but there's something to it, even if I can't prove it and even if I can't explain it very rationally. So if you got the understanding of this physics, please message me and educate me on that so that I can speak a little bit more coherently on it. It's just something that I'm kind of feeling, perceiving, and what's coming through to me in my meditation processes. But still, if you truly believe that your thoughts create your reality, then maybe you'll be as excited about this timeline shift as I am, because I am actually excited about this timeline shift. This really gives us a new opportunity right now. And it's an opportunity that we really haven't had in the same way for these last 9 years. So, you see, by some calculations, what is happening right now, 2025, energetically, was supposed to happen in 16, 17. That was the original organic ascension cycle timeline back then in 2016, 17, on the cusp of that. So let that sink in. I believe that we were diverted. I believe that we were hijacked, you could say, moved onto this false timeline. And certainly they attempted to hijack our consciousness and that ascension timeline. When you think what's happened over these particularly the last 5 years, you can see that all of that is a massive hijacking of our consciousness, attempting to, right? I do believe that now we have self-corrected. And that's the beauty of being natural and organic, and having our organic 12-strand DNA template intact, because it means that enough of us here have been able to bring in that frequency and hold it in the energy template, which also then affects the morphogenetic field of the planet as well. And we really begin this mass awakening of humanity to a higher level than before. So this is about remembering our divine connection, remembering the truth of who we really are and what we're here to do, and then choosing to do that every day in every moment. Not just dipping in and out of being, here to shift the consciousness of humanity and then having a few days off because you get a little bit slovenly. It's every day I am on my mission and fulfilling my purpose. Our thoughts create our reality. There is power in our thoughts, in our words, in our actions. We have to be responsible with that power. Now, if we go into fear or despair or worry because of the propaganda that is being thrown at us from every angle, we're going to be lowering our frequency, and our power drains from us and it feeds their agenda. By contrast, when we are strong, when we are grounded, when we are connected, when we are really strong in our convictions and our beliefs, then we become absolutely invincible and impenetrable. We become invincible upon our path, and we will fulfill our mission. We must learn to recognize, though, what diverts our energy and power, where we're draining our energy to, where we're leaking energy to. And we are still inundated with false light teachings. And in this age of awakening, people are flocking to these false light teachings, and they are so heavily promoted on social media. They are really everywhere. When you understand how the mind works, when you put a message in enough times, it becomes completely believable to you. You're actually being programmed in that way. And so all of these, for example, sponsored ads that keep coming onto social media, when you think, oh, yeah, I'm actually really feeling attracted to that, I want you to just pause a moment and say, am I genuinely attracted to it from my heart? Or am I just going along with that now because I've been programmed that way? Some years back, actually, I went on a little, not a detour, but a little journey to understand how the mind works, because I really needed to understand the mind programming that happens here on this planet. And so when I understood the programming of the mind and mind control, now I can see so easily the part that social media plays in this. And of course, AI now, because it's really in your head, reading your thoughts, reading every pattern that you have online. It's a master at pattern recognition, of course. And so it sees the things you're interested in and it feeds you more of it. You think that's great because you're getting exactly what you want on your social media feed. But I would urge caution and say, are you sure that it is not false light teachings that are being thrown at you to serve their agenda? We must be aware that these false light teachings are specifically chosen and endorsed because of their ability to divert and hijack our consciousness. The Twilight Master is thriving in this age of social media and online learning. We have to be careful of that. But with all of that said, I'm not a doom and gloom person. I'm very, very excited about where we are right now in this new timeline. I really 100% believe that we've turned a corner. I always believed that we've won the battle of light over darkness, that the light has already won. But it always takes time for these things to start to land, doesn't it? as a metaphor, that when a huge, cruise liner or whatever is going along the ocean and it needs to change course, it takes a while for that whole thing to maneuver and actually move forward in the new direction. And so even though I knew all along that the light will win, it's taken a while for it to land. And as I say, we're not home and dry yet. Our thoughts, every thought, every action, every belief we have makes a difference in terms of energy and consciousness. So we have to be really, really aware of that. But still, I'm really, really excited. And of course, there's more to learn, more to uncover, more to experience. That's the nature of life, right? Our job is to stay absolutely 100% committed to our purpose and mission. Our job is to pick out the truth from the lies, to be able to discern authentic from fake, what is true creation from that which is artificially created and manipulated. And ultimately, our job is to develop a strong connection to source light through the connection of our own inner divine. And that is how we shift the consciousness of humanity, and we actually solidify this new timeline, which is the new Earth timeline. So I hope you've enjoyed what I've shared with you today. If you have, of course, please like, share, subscribe, because I've got to work with the algorithms of social media too, and I really need a bit of help to get my message out, because honestly, most of the time I'm shadow banned. But hey, that's the way it is with truth speakers, and I understand that. But please, I could do with a little bit of help, so please like, share, subscribe. And if anything I've said today really, really resonates with you, and you would like to come into my little community, then I have a beautiful membership called the New Earth Ascension Temple, where we discuss all of these kind of things and more in a way that I actually can't always share on social media and YouTube, because they usually censor my videos and take them down. But in my private community, I'm completely open and transparent, because they can't shut me down there. So if you would like to talk with me more, much deeper, no holds barred and all of that stuff, then please come along, join my community, and I will put the link for that below. Or just send me a DM or put an emoji and say, sign me up, I want to hear more. So I look forward to talking with you some more, and have a beautiful rest of your week. Bye-bye for now.